All right, everybody, it's the Combatcast. Back at it again. Dave, Chevy, and we're going to talk about Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso from last week. And this is where I would normally say to Chevy, tell them what we got coming up next week. But we don't know what we got coming up next week.
Yeah, there's no fights next week, so we're still working on some stuff. We have a few ideas, but we'll figure something out. But moving on from there, October 7th, UFC Fight Night, Green versus Dawson. That's a actually pretty good rounded out fight card. Looking forward to that one. And then October 14th, UFC Fight Night, Yusuf versus Barbosa. So that is going to be an exciting striking match for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about it as we get closer to that. That's an interesting one to see. Barbosa. We'll see. But let's talk about this past weekend's card. The main event. Tell me what you saw of it.
All right, so this was pretty late. We're talking about Valentina and Alexa Grasso.
Yes.
It was pretty late. So I was falling asleep in and out multiple rounds. But what I did see of the fight, it was very even back and forth. Every time I woke up, a different girl was winning, was on top.
Yeah.
So I can't really speak to who I thought won. I know there's a lot of controversy, especially with Mike Bell and his judging round 5 as a 10-8. I didn't think it was a 10-8. What I saw the entire round 5. I didn't think it was a 10-8. So Valentina probably should have won. But what were your thoughts on it?
They broke the scorecards down, and they broke down that judge, I think, on Morning Combat. And it's interesting because he had other 10-8s that night, and they agreed with all of them. It's just that he's had good scorecards before. It's just he had that one round that happened to affect the fight. And it's like it's not like a draw is so outrageous or either one winning is so outrageous because it was such a close fight. But it's just that one bad scorecard for that one round, and it affects the whole fight. So that's why I think it's gotten so much attention. What I thought, I'd love to go back. I should go back and watch it again because round 4 seems to be the real questionable round here. And I remember I thought Valentina won that round. But that seems to be the round. The big round in question is they're going back and forth on who won round 4, you know. But yeah, I thought Valentina won. I remember turning to my buddy and I said, I could see this going to be a draw, and it ended up being a split draw. So, you know, I wasn't too shocked when I saw that scorecard afterwards again. I think like everybody's like, how do you get that? You know, I think that's just the big argument here is how we came up with that 10-8. I know they want people to be more liberal with 10-8s, and they're easy to get to now, but I just didn't see it there. But at the same time, it was very interesting because both fighters they're not known for being like disrespectful or anything, but neither one of them really wanted to be like, like accept that draw. I mean, Grasso was like, even Grasso said, I won. And DC was like, it was a draw. And Valentina was like, maybe it's a hometown thing, you know, Mexican Independence Day. And I just, I think that just says a lot about how competitive they are and what rivals they are. So the question will be, do we do a rematch? And for me, I say no. I say this is, in a way, the perfect outcome because Grasso, yeah, you'd love to see her be a bigger star, but Valentina doesn't really lose any stock here at all. And I think we talked about this a week ago. I'd like to see Valentina go up to bantamweight. I'd love to see her have a match with Pena for the vacant bantamweight title. And for Grasso, you got challengers waiting. I think Aaron Blanchfield would probably be my go-to.
Farrell.
Yeah, and who's the other one? Tatiana or
Suarez.
Suarez, yeah, she's waiting in the wings for sure too. But I think Blanchfield should be next, and it's going to create some problems because Blanchfield knows that these ladies can dominate you in wrestling. And we've seen, Grasso got taken down a few times in this fight. She was good off her back, but still got taken down.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think Valentina needs to get I don't need to see this fight a third time. Just I know this was a draw or whatever, and the fight was very close, but Grasso got the first one dominantly. She choked her out. So, to me, it's 2-0. So I think we move on from here, and I'm with you. I think Erin Blanchfield deserves the next shot. I think Tatiana gets one more win, and then you push her onto a title shot. Maybe a number one contender fight against Farrell, perhaps. So, Valentina probably better off making the move up. She's mid-30s now, I think 35. Weight cuts are tough. Now would be the time to make a jump up there. You don't have to worry about Nunes or anything. So,
and if she can win that title, it's just another accolade in a Hall of Fame career. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm with you. We didn't talk about this, but let's just talk about this really quickly before we move on. This whole UFC Noche thing. What did you think about it?
I might be annoyed. I liked it. There was a theme. I liked it. All right. So I personally am a big believer that we should do more to make certain fight cards feel special. I understand you can't do that with every single fight night card, but this is the first fight night card where it felt like it was something different. I think we need to have an occasional title shot on here or a real big title shot implication fight. And I think it does big business for your brand, And I love that we're trying to put a spotlight on Mexican MMA because I know Dana White is huge about trying to grow MMA in Mexico. And I think that Performance Center is supposed to open up down there the next month too, their PI. So we'll see. But overall, yeah, I liked it. There was a theme. I was, I don't know if anyone sees the thing up here, but I was really singing along. I was like, Viva Mexico. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was very well done too. That they had the voiceovers from like Mario Lopez or whatever, and he was doing all the voiceovers for the boxers and the rich history for Mexican boxers, especially on Mexican Independence Day, and how the UFC was kind of taking the torch from them in that aspect, and all the Mexican fighters coming out with their walkout music with all this old school Mexican music. It was very cool, very well done, classy. They had Brendan Moreno come into the booth and do some commentary with them. I love everything about Assassin Baby, so that was great. Very well done. I'm with you. I think making the occasional fight night a little bit special. I can understand how it would be hard to get the title fights on there. We didn't discuss this, but obviously rare these days to see a title fight on a fight night. I think part of that is because when you are a champion, you get pay-per-view points, and that's part of your money. So they must be giving them something in the background or whatever to kind of cover for that. But Mexican fans are among the best fans in the world, especially when it comes to combat sports. So I can see why Dana is so high to push for something like this.
I mean, just off the top of my head, I'd love to see something similar done with Ireland. Time-wise, UK. Obviously, they've already had such a great fan base there, but like maybe making it more theme. And even if you want to do something local, like a Brooklyn, New York, like how many great African American boxers and stuff and fighters came out of like Brooklyn, New York. Like I would think that so you could do something like that. I don't know. I just think that there's a few maybe choice areas you could pick up, and you could run a few themed events like this a year, and it would make the fight nights feel more special.
Yeah. All right, so let's get back to the fights. Let's talk about the co-main event, which I was very excited for and didn't quite deliver on my end. But Kevin Holland versus Jack Della Maddalena.
Jack Della Maddalena. I heard someone call him JDM, which I thought.
JDM.
Yeah, I like that. I thought he did enough to win. I thought he looked impressive, but at the same time, it just wasn't stylistically the fun fight I thought we were going to get. Maybe round 1 was, but after that, Jack just looked like the better striker, but not somebody who was going to be able to put Holland away. So it just it didn't really click from there on. I think Holland should have made an attempt to grapple more. As a fan just watching this, and I thought there was a couple brief times he wasn't able to take him down, but if he had kept him guessing, maybe we could have switched it up. And I thought that's where Holland was really going to possibly shine in this with his mixed attack, and we didn't see that. Instead, kind of gave me kind of Wonder Boy Thompson vibes again. Obviously, he broke his hand, but it's still like I thought, you're playing into your opponent's game a little more. In the end, though, good win for JDM. Keeps him relevant. Just because I like to pick fights after sometimes some of these bigger fights for him. Assuming health is okay, I don't know. I think Jeff Neal would be an excellent fight for JDM on his way up.
Yeah, that's a great fight. I'd love to see that one for sure.
Yeah.
Going back to this fight, though, the first round was good, but the rest of the fight mostly looked like a sparring match. And I think you credit that to JDM's his solid defense. He just was very disciplined with his footwork and his distance management and his guard. He just kept his hands up, under his chin the entire fight. Holland, when he did land, he was always landing on the hands. He could never land a really clean shot on Jack. So, credit that to Jack too. And then same thing with Holland. He was doing that like leaning back, sort of like Strickland, that Philly shell-esque kind of thing. He leans way back and protects his chin with his shoulder. But Jack was just kind of rushing in. So he was landing on his body. He landed, those 3-4 punch combos. He would land the end of them on Holland's chin. So Holland's a very exciting fighter, but I think he needs to determine whether he really wants to make a shot for a world championship or if he just wants to be an exciting fighter, like a Cowboy Cerrone sort of thing. Because striking is exciting, but he has this other skill set. He's a black belt in BJJ under Travis Lutter. So he has the skills on the ground. Wrestling is the weak part of his game. So getting it to the ground, but if he can, chain it together and get it to the ground, he's very dangerous, especially with those super long limbs. I can just imagine him locking up so many Darces with those super long arms. So, like you were saying, if he can just be a threat in those situations, get opponents thinking that he may take it to the ground or he's going for something on the ground, that will present opportunities on the feet. So, if he just wants to be an exciting fighter, a fan favorite, that's definitely a way to collect paychecks for sure. So just go ahead and strike. But if you're actually looking to win fights, you got to mix in a little bit of grappling, especially when you're as talented as he is. So hope he does that going forward.
Yeah. I can't disagree with any of that. He definitely feels like he could be using more tools that he has. And it does feel I get a Cowboy Cerrone vibe from him. And I always have. And hey, Cowboy Cerrone made a ton of money.
Yeah.
But, you want to be, you could be a champion possibly too. I don't know. I think he definitely should think about doing that though.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to this week's fight card, which is a 7 p.m. Eastern start time, which is nice as opposed to last week's 10 p.m. It was too late, sleepy boy. But also, before we get to that, actually, just shout out to Rojas Jr. Got that sick KO in the first round. I don't know if he was going to make it to a second round with how aggressively he was going, but maybe he just knew he had Terrence Mitchell outmatched.
Yeah, and then he showed some good stuff there. He did what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to come in there and destroy Terrence Mitchell. But I thought the aggressiveness, the fact that he wants to win, so bad.
And he did striking too, not
Okay.
just diving for takedowns over and over.
Yeah, and I thought for sure. I thought he might get him out of the first round too, but I thought it'd be a choke or something like that. So
Same.
we got with hands. It's good. I mean, we'll see. Again, bring this kid up slowly, but
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, interesting. All right, this week's fight card. Some good prelims on this one. Tim Means, Andre Fialho. That's going to be an exciting fight for sure. The undercard is good. Ricardo Ramos versus Charles Jourdain, Bryan Battle, AJ Fletcher, Marina Rodriguez versus Michelle Waterson-Gomez, all on the undercard. But we're just going to go through the co-main and the main event. So let's start with the co-main featherweight matchup here. Contenders Bryce Mitchell and Dan Ige.
All right, Bryce Mitchell, 15-1, 9 subs. He's got 6 decisions. And he also has a wins over Edson Barboza and Andre Fili. I feel those are 2 of his bigger wins. Dan Ige, 17-6, 5 KOs, 5 subs, 7 decisions. He's on a 2-fight win streak. Prior to that, he had lost 3 in a row, losing to guys like the Korean Zombie, Josh Emmett, some of the upper echelons of the featherweight division. So, that being said, this is a good test for Bryce Mitchell, I think. I could see Ige winning this. I don't know who the favorite is, but I'm going to go with Mitchell because I think that ability that Mitchell has wrestling-wise, I think it's going to play into this. And he's always working on his strikes. I think he's hungry, and I think the fact that he's come back off his first loss, he's really going to want to get a victory here. May not happen. I can really see this going either way, but I'm going to go second round submission by Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, Bryce back after his flu fight with Ilia Topuria. A lot of questions with Bryce coming off his first loss. And he has all this drama at home. I don't know if you've seen this. You haven't? Oh, is it?
Oh, tell me. Maybe I've changed my mind here.
There's a great video of, he was in town for last week's fight card.
Yeah.
And he posted a video. Apparently his ex-girlfriend came to his farm and killed all his fruit trees that he's been, working on for years. And he was pleading with his neighbors to keep an eye out on his farm. He's worried this girl's going to try to kill him or his animals or his wife. So, a lot of drama. So hopefully that's not too distracting, but with none of those problems, he's still got to bring his A game to beat Dan Ige for sure. So very possible that Dan Ige has enough takedown defense to tire Bryce out and finish him on the feet because he is definitely the much better striker. But like you, I'm leaning towards Bryce. I'm thinking a third round submission, but he needs to be focused. I'm not sure if he will be or not, but that's what I'm leaning towards.
I think we're both in agreement. It's all going to come down to Ige's takedown defense. And I think Mitchell is going to be aggressive enough and focused enough that he should be able to get this done. But like you said, if his personal life is interfering with his professional life, then who knows? But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know. I can't tell you what's in this man's head. So but I'm going to still stick with Mitchell. Round 2 submission.
All right. Let's talk about this main event. Very excited for this fight. Rafael Fiziev versus Mateusz Gamrot.
Gamrot is 22-2-1, 7 KOs, 5 subs, 10 decisions. Performance of the night twice. Fight of the night 2 times. He's got the fastest Kimura in UFC history, 66 seconds on Jeremy Stevens. Fiziev, 12-2, 8 KOs, 1 sub, 3 decision. Fight of the night 3 times. And he's also had performance of the night 3 times. Of those wins, guys like Bobby Green, Mark Delgaziz, Rafael dos Anjos, I want to point that one out in particular, RDA. That was a 5th round KO. So, this guy's got gas in the tank. His loss, though, in particular, is what I want to point out. Justin Gaethje. He didn't look nervous at all on that big stage. He took the fight to Justin Gaethje, And it was only because Justin Gaethje is such an experienced, skilled striker and one of the all-time greats with a great team behind him. Justin Gaethje made some adjustments and was able to win that fight. Mm-hmm. So Gamrot is good, but I feel like Fiziev is just a little bit better. This is going to be a striker's delight. I'm going to pick Fiziev. I'm going to say he gets a third-round finish.
Yeah. These guys are phenomenal and relatively unknown, so I'm glad that they're getting a main event. A little bit of shine for these guys for sure. Tough fight to call, like you were talking about, Fiziev striking, but I think Gamrot's grappling could also be the difference. So I think it'll be a close fight. We see a decision because it's going to be so close. And if it's going to be a decision, then I'm going to go with the grappling. So I'm going to go with Gamrot by decision. But super close. Also could see Fiziev knocking him out at any point in the fight too. So looking forward to this one for sure.
And much like our co-main event, where again, we're looking at grappling versus striking kind of in this division too.
Yeah. So good fight night. Also this weekend, we're not going to go through it, but just shout out to Bellator 299. Sinead Kavanaugh on there, Aaron Pico, Johnny Eblen defending his title on there. That'll be on Saturday also, I believe. So
I'll throw you the curveball. Obviously we don't know the future of Bellator still. There's talks they might be folded. Of that card, what name jumps out at you that you'd like to see maybe get a chance in the UFC?
Aaron Pico. Well, Johnny Eblen is world class for sure, but as far as marketing and skill, I don't know how old Johnny Eblen is, but I think I'd go with Aaron Pico.
Yeah, I mean, a couple good ones right there too. And we saw Johnny Eblen win that championship live.
Yeah, yep, he beat
Masasi.
Yeah, Gegard. Yep. Yeah, that was very impressive. He dominated him.
He looked great. Yeah. Well, all right. Why don't we tell people what we got coming up? Next week's kind of a mystery, but beyond that.
Mystery show next week. And then October 7th, UFC Fight Night, Dawson versus Green. Excellent fight card. And then October 14th, UFC Fight Night, Yusuf versus Barbosa.
All right, folks. Good fights ahead. Good fights this weekend.